But the reason I am the way I am is because I decided to take a vacation out here, and I was fortunate enough to see that there's a whole new world. What is up, guys? Welcome to Live Travel Asia, where we show you what it's like living and traveling in Asia. Now, my channel is finally going into its second season, and I have finally broken that 1,000 subscriber benchmark. And I was thinking about where I can take my channel and what I can do to take it to the next level. But I've realized that my viewers don't really even know much about me. And that is why I've decided that I'm gonna be a little unoriginal and do a 50 facts about me. So 50 facts is a lot of facts, so let's get started. Fact number 1, I was born in Korea. However, I lived in Africa for 7 years. And then I moved to the States when I was 14. Currently, I've been living and traveling from Thailand for the last 3 years. I don't have a Korean passport, so I'm technically only American legally. I lived in Southern California for 20 years of my life, which is most of my life. But I have a permanent residency in Korea because my parents are Korean. I'm bilingual. I can actually speak Korean, but my writing is a bit iffy. I'm a lot better in English, obviously. I did study Spanish for 4 years in high school and a little bit in middle school, but I really suck at it. And I also really suck at Thai, even though I've been living here for 3 years. Another random fact about me is that I went to an American Christian boarding school when I was 7 until I was 14 in Africa, where only about 1 or 2 students in each grade were black. I mentioned that because in middle school, in 8th grade, I went to Jackie Robinson Middle School, and me and my sister, along with 2 other Chinese brothers who transferred in the middle of the year, and 1 other white guy, were the only non-blacks. So I thought it's quite ironic that in Africa, I lived and studied with Caucasian whites, but in America, I studied mainly with African Americans. After I graduated high school, I joined the US Army, and I've served in the Army Reserves for 9 years. And while I was in the Army Reserves, I was also working at a bank and eventually ended up working there for 13 years. A lot of people ask me this, so I will say it here. I own my condo here in Thailand, which I think is my 3rd biggest accomplishment in life. My 2nd biggest accomplishment, however, was the fact that I own my own home in California when I was 27, and that was such a big accomplishment to me because homes in California are just ridiculously expensive. What I consider to be my biggest accomplishment, however, is the fact that I just recently maxed out all the visa pages on my passport last year. Now, because I've been talking about owning homes, you guys might be thinking I'm some rich kid, but I am not. I'm actually living paycheck to paycheck, teaching English at the moment. There was a time, however, in the States, I was making 6 figures, but I was still living paycheck to paycheck. As you guys know, California, the cost of living is just so ridiculously high. Making 6 figures is just a paycheck to paycheck figure. Now, if you've also frequented my channel, you know that I'm mostly traveling with my girlfriend Mayu. So here are some facts about her and my relationship. Fact number 21. Mayu is fully Japanese. Me and Mayu met on Tinder. Now, I know a lot of you guys think Tinder is a place for hookups, but me and Mayu have been together for 2 years. I'm a nerd, and I love video games and anime and all the other nerdy things. But Mayu is also a nerd, and she loves video games and anime. When we first met, she had me at, "Oh my god, you also make Gundam figurines." My girlfriend is quadlingual, I think you would say, because she speaks and writes Japanese, English, and Chinese. She also speaks Thai, but she can't really write it or read it. I do think she speaks a little bit of French too as well, because she studied that in high school. Does that make her pentalingual? I'm not sure. That sounds like a witchcraft thing. Now, the thing I like the most about Mayu is that she also loves traveling like I do, and she doesn't complain like some of the other girls I've met when things get tough or rough when you're traveling. She's right there, humping it out with you. By the way, me and Mayu's favorite video game is Overwatch by far. Maybe it's her favorite game because she's always on it. If you also have a PSN ID, I will put my PSN ID below. Just add us on and you'll probably see her playing all the time and you can jump on and play Overwatch with us. Now here's some of my preferences about countries. The country I like living in the most obviously is Thailand. Now the thing I love most about living in Thailand is just how chill the people and the culture is here. The country I like traveling in the most, however, is Korea. And the thing I love most about traveling in Korea is just how cheap, convenient, and efficient the public transport system is over there. And the country I love shopping in the most is none other than my home country of the United States of America, the home of capitalism and materialism, and I will go on to further say the country of California because it is a whole different place than everywhere else in the States. And the thing I love the most about shopping in the States is Marshalls. I just love how everything is just clearanced out over there. I just like going to my section with the sizes and picking out something cheap. And then it's like bargain hunting. It's like a little treasury find. So I love Marshalls. Now, every country has its ups and downs, but I would have to say the country I didn't like traveling to the most is Cambodia. Although I think they have probably the most amazing site in Angkor Wat. And the thing that I didn't like about Cambodia is just how horrible the roads were. It was just life endangering to be traveling on the roads there. And I also didn't like how inconvenient it was having to bargain and argue with all the tuk-tuk drivers because there isn't a set price. The country I want to visit the most in the future, however, is Japan. Now, I've been to the airport, but I haven't really traveled there, and I was supposed to go last year, but I had just a bunch of family events, and that's why you see a lot of Korea videos. But you'll see more videos from other countries soon. Another random fact about me is that I really like samurais and I do a lot of samurai impersonations with Mayu. Hawaii, kono yaro, arigato. Okay, so if you've been watching the video up to this point, I really appreciate it because you must be interested in what I have to say or in my channel. So I'll go ahead and start talking about some of the things that even my closest friends don't even know. Something I've realized while I'm traveling out here is that I am what you call your typical third culture kid. So I don't know, I read a book or I read an article or a series of articles and books that sort of talk about third culture kids, and what third culture kids are is basically it's kind of person who is always uprooted from a specific culture, so there is no established culture or basis that they associate with, and I sort of fit that bill. Like I realized that a lot of my preferences and my actions are explained by the fact that I'm a third culture kid, and it's like sort of amazing how psychology works. But I've been studying a lot of psychology out here because I had a lot of free time to read, and yeah, that is something that I realized that growing up in the States, I mean that's where I've been most of my time, but before that I've already had been transported from growing up in Korea when I was super young as a toddler to Africa, and then sort of finding my identity there and making friends there, and then I was transported to the States and I moved around in the States, so I never really had long established friends, and that sort of goes to explain, I mean, there's two sides of this. The benefit is that I'm very comfortable traveling. I have like a really big worldwide view that a lot of people don't have, and I feel very privileged that I've had all these experiences, but at the same time it's very hard for me to like attach myself to a specific culture or like a specific place and like really feel like it's home and feel safe in that environment, and that sort of makes me someone that's like more nervous and insecure, I guess. I mean, I could probably talk a lot more about this particular subject, but that was something that I was like struggling with. Now, another thing that I do out here in Thailand, if somebody asks me where I'm from, this used to be a question I struggled so much with because I am Korean heritage, but I am just fully legally American. So the correct answer would be Korean American, but you know, it's like something that I don't think Thais really understand. So if I say Korean American, they usually end up just accusing me of being either from Singapore or Hong Kong because I speak good English, and then just trying to act like I'm Korean because I want to act like I'm like a K-pop star or something and try to be attractive to the girls. So I usually just keep it simple, stupid, and now I usually just say I'm Korean even though I'm American out here, just so that I don't have to deal with explaining why I speak good English, etc., etc. So that's like a little white lie I tend to tell out here. Now, another fact about me that might explain why I make my videos the way I do sometimes is that I am really working hard to get better at taking video and working on my videography skills and my photography skills, because it's not only because I want to make really great vlogs, which is, you know, I really do want to make really great vlogs because I'm sort of a OCD perfectionist kind of person and it kills me to put out bad quality vlogs, but it's because I secretly think I want to work in this field, like taking photography and doing videography, because working at the bank, although I was really well respected by my community and my society because I was a well-established guy making good money, and you know, they saw me as a great provider, and you know, all these parents would ask my parents, you know, is your son available to marry my daughter, etc. Working at a bank, let me tell you, is somewhat soul-crushing. And many people who work at the bank will tell you the same thing, you know? It's because when you're working in the industry, you realize just how much money is in the money. How do I explain this? You realize that you are adding to a system that makes the rich richer and the poor poorer, right? So that is why I have a very liberal, economic, progressive point of view and value, because I know that trickle-down theory doesn't work because we have such thing as compound interest. If anything, the wealth compounds and stays up there in the top. And the last thing I want to say is, actually, I don't know how you view me. I don't know how the viewer sees me. But I do know that I get a lot of comments from my friends, my closest, you know, friends and family, that think I'm just crazy, I'm wild, I'm very adventurous, I'm fearless. But that is definitely not the case. I am probably the most conservative, scared, insecure person. That's how I was raised. That's how I grew up, you know? And the reason why I'm out here and I'm able to do all this wasn't because, you know, I had that kind of character. It's just because for a series of events, it just had me somehow, fortunately, come out here. And when I saw things in a different light, out of the box, I was able to take small steps to correct what I have been preconditioned to think and live a kind of lifestyle that, even though it might not be accepted in certain kinds of societies, I found that was what makes me happy. So, how do I make this simple? Basically, in the States and even in just Korean culture, so what my parents will always nag to me about, it's they always want you to just get married, settle down, have an established job, have a family. That's what society wants you to do. That's what men are viewed as, providers. So it's really hard to fight against that, because then you're just like seen as some kind of rebel. No one likes somebody who is going against society's thoughts or views, because that's going against what they're doing. So when I came out here, I just found out that that's not how it is everywhere. And in Thailand, there's just so many similar minded people who want to just travel, have lots of different experiences, and not, necessarily fit into that mold of what society wants us to be. And, it's like for weird people like us. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't always like this. I was probably one of the most conservative people. I told you I purchased a home when I was 27 years old. And that's because I was really preconditioned and I wanted to live that lifestyle. I was so convinced that's what I wanted. But the reason I am the way I am is because I decided to take a vacation out here, and I was fortunate enough to see that there's a whole new world. And the reason I'm saying this is because the reason I started this vlog and why I make these videos is I want to maybe somehow show you that there is a different world, and it's not so scary out here, and that you're not going to get raped or murdered or mugged, and it's just like everywhere else, you know? So you can definitely come out here and travel, and I try to include all the cost information because that's probably one of the biggest, fears that we have, because, you could be making 20,000, 30,000, six figures, but you're probably living paycheck to paycheck. That's because that's how the Western world is set up. And you're worried about, oh, how can I budget for this and that? So I try to show you that it's not even that much money to come out here. And if I can just get one person to come out here and have a vacation, have a blast, and, take all my tips and not go through all the mistakes that we make, then I think I've done my job. So, anyways, this is just getting really, really long. So I will just wrap up here. I think I failed again creating a channel trailer again, because channel trailers are supposed to be short. But if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, I really, really would encourage you to subscribe to this channel, share with your friends, like-minded people, and I hope to see you guys again next week and weekly for more vlogs about living and traveling in Asia.